What's going on, guys? We are back yet again. We're going to be doing another movie review today. So I have been very unsure of how I was going to do this review because I know there's a lot of people out there that like certain things Disney does, but today we are obviously going to be talking about Mufasa the Lion King, the live action prequel to the 2019 version of the Lion King. Now I'm going to go into not only my review of this film, what happened, and also of course how I felt about it. So originally how I felt about it going into it, I was excited when it was announced because again I love Mufasa. I was very excited to hear, they were going to do something with his character because I was a little curious on it. And then I started hearing about, different things. And then, of course, when we lost James Earl Jones and how they were going to continue this. Was he going to do the voice or whatever, who they're going to have in this film? I was excited, then I was nervous, then I was like, no, I don't want to see it. Then I was like, I don't want to see it. Then I went to, okay, let me at least try to see it. So I went into that, and the entirety of this movie kind of goes on two different things. So there's one part of the film, or a good majority of the film, that goes into, I would say, quote unquote, the present. But we have where Rafiki is telling the story of Mufasa to Kiara of originally. And again, it's weird because he must have told Rafiki this, is what I'm assuming. So he was part of a pride. He had his mother, he had his father. They went to a watering hole. And again, I'm going to say this now, there's a lot of foreshadowing in this film that goes into the first and the second film of the animated version of they go to the watering hole. Simba goes in the water, so does everyone else, gets some water, and then one of the dams break of the wood, and unfortunately, Mufasa's father tries to save him, and he's not able to do it, and then Mufasa is just cast out of that land. He goes onto the water, holding onto a branch, and then he's found by Taka, aka a very young Scar, who saves him from crocodiles. His mother shows up, and then he wants to bring Mufasa around their pride, but Taka's mother is not, because of Taka's father is very, I would say, chauvinistic to the lionesses and outsiders because of whatever issues they've been having. And when he does meet him, he does say, "Hey, if you're able to beat my son in a race, then you can stay with us, but you're going to have to stay with the Lionesses. If you don't, then we're going to, take you out." Well, he does race him, even though there's issues with that where Taka's father tries to help him by tripping Mufasa. He does win, and he goes with the Lionesses. And he's able to learn a lot of different things, from how to hunt, his natural instincts, how to sense different things, all these weird things that I would say maybe a lioness knows how to do. But even then, it's really kind of crazy how a lion, actual lion, not a lioness, not a female lion, but a male lion, was able to do a lot of things that a female lioness could possibly do as well as a male. But we have where Taka and him grow up, and there's also many issues with the outsiders, who are a white lion based pride, who have been taking out other prides to become the main one. And when Taka is stalking his mother and Mufasa of how they hunt, they are attacked by these white lions, and Taka retreats, I guess, to go tell his father. And when they come, Taka feels embarrassed. He's like, "Why didn't I do something?" And then the white lions, or the main white lion, is very angry because his son was taken out by Mufasa, so he wants revenge, and he's gonna be having all the lions go after them. But then Mufasa tells his pretty much adopted parents, "Hey, you need to get a scout over there," and that's how they're able to figure out. And Taka's father gives him a lot of praise and apology of, "I'm sorry, I didn't believe you," and they send him away. And Mufasa's adoptive mother pretty much didn't want to send him away, but they didn't have a choice. So from the guessing is, this white lion and his pride took him out, and he starts chasing Mufasa and Taka throughout the lands of whatever, and their main goal is to go to what is we know as the Pride Lands. And they come across Rafiki, who is a very young Rafiki. He got kicked out of his own clan. We even see a very young Sarabi, who Zazu is also introduced to be her servant, that he was part of her pride, that he did a lot of things for her father. So kind of goes into we didn't really need to know about this, but again, they did show it, and Scar wanted to eat him when he was, back then anyway. And Rafiki was very much of a dreamer. We all know how Rafiki is, and he starts learning more about Mufasa, and then being able to trust Mufasa a little bit more, and how we even see where Mufasa saves Sarabi, but he gives credit to Taka, even though Taka hid from the stampede of elephants after they were trying to use him as a distraction to go up against the white lions, and even try to, use different things that Mufasa's learned about Sarabi, the way she smells because of flowers that is on her fur, all these things, and they slowly start getting a relationship going to where Taka sees it and he grows out of jealousy. So this is where it begins, is the jealousy of, his parents favored Mufasa a little bit more, and his love interest with Sarabi, even though Sarabi started falling for Mufasa first because of all the things he did to impress her, and like she, idolized him a little bit. And that's why in the movie we see where Taka goes to the White Lions to get revenge and use them so they could go to the Pride Lands and take over. But what we see is he was using different marks to be able to have them follow because they were lost because they had Zazu cover their tracks in the snow. We also see how Rafiki gets his stick. He was hanging onto one of the branches that was part of the elephant stampede. And then we see this massive battle start where they arrive at the Pride Lands, and everyone's scared because the White Lions pretty much, ran them off into that area, and that's what they're afraid of, is them finding them. Mufasa does stand up against the leader, and then it's revealed Taka's betrayal, and they start fighting. All the animals start fighting together after Mufasa gives a big speech. Mufasa takes them on again. Taka has his regrets and he tries to save Mufasa, and that's how he gets the legendary scar on his eye. And we do see where Mufasa almost drowns trying to defeat this white lion, and he's able to push him off in a rock, basically takes him out into the water. And we do see twice in this film of how Scar evidently killed Mufasa, but we see twice in the film where he saved him from drowning with the same, grabbing on his paws and pulling him up instead of, throwing him down like he did in the original film. But we see where everyone is praising Mufasa, wants him to be king, and he says, I don't have royal blood in me, I'm not this. He became a king and a leader because of his character, not because of his bloodline. And that was, I guess, the show truth of what it takes to be a king. It's not of your bloodline, it's not because of this, it's because of your character. And he is reunited with his mother. He does find out about his father, and again they find out like, oh, he lives in you again. What happened in the second film, same thing with how his father possibly died was in the second film, with the water, like Zira. And they were going to banish Scar, and he didn't do it because he said he was going to have a place here as long as he's king. And he said, but he can't call him the name Taka anymore. He says, then call me Scar because of, remembrance of everything. And that's when Scar is, born. Scar was already in there. And what we see is that the, Pride Rock was made by an earthquake. And we also see how Rafiki considered Simba, or not Simba, but Mufasa to be a brother, because they were not brothers by blood or species. They were brothers in loyalty, and that's how Rafiki pretty much became family to, him, Sarabi, and Simba, and Nala, and Kiara, and all them. And we go into the present, how they're telling this story of, how Rafiki says Kira reminds him of a young Mufasa, and how there's a storm coming, and how Nala is somewhere, and it seems like Nala's about ready to give birth, which I was assuming it was Kiara because they never show her till the very end of the film. And what we see is where he gives Kiara the enough strength to be able to go to Pride Rock and start roaring as Mufasa did, and even Simba did at the storm, to show her courage. And she was able to see her grandfather in the sky, and she sees her parents return, and she's able to meet her brother Keon, or Kion, and we see where she's wanting to tell him the story. So again, I never really knew much about Kion. I did not watch Lion Guard. I had to go into clips to be able to know what happened. So it seems like she is, I want to say, 7, 8 years older maybe than Kion. I don't know. But how do I originally feel about this movie? I just really didn't care. I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't care. A lot of the voice acting took me away. I don't care about Beyonce. I can't, I don't care. I think the only reason why her daughter got the role is Kiara's because, again, who her mother is. Seth Rogen, I can't stand him as Pumbaa. I think he's made an ass out of himself in the industry out of all the things that came out of his mouth. And um, I just didn't care. I just didn't care about this film. I just didn't care. It was very disappointing. The scenery could have been a lot better for the CGI in my opinion. The way they handled Scar was even more crazy of him being more of a coward than what he actually was. He didn't really do anything other than, of course, fight Simba for a few minutes in the original film. And I'm saying the animated film, not the bastardization of the 2019 movie. I just didn't care for this film. I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to do an adaptation of two, but they're going to have Kion in it, other than what he was in the animated film. They're probably going to introduce Kovu. They're probably going to introduce Zira, and all the others that we know from the original second film. But again, I felt like this film could have been, I don't know. I think if it was in animated form, it could have been a lot better if they would have done it back then. But it's kind of crazy how, again, they're trying to save fans or keep fans, but it's not working. And I just feel like after all the lying they did on this film, to be able to say, oh, it's the number one movie, when no, it was not. It was Sonic. Sonic beat this movie time and time again. And I feel like, again, this movie did not do what they say it did. And again, that's just, look at the numbers. That's all I'm going to say. Look at the numbers, look at the reviews, because not everybody's happy with this film. I've seen other reviews of this film. Everyone kind of felt like how I did, unless you're a big Disney fan and you're just either very loyal to them for dumb reasons, or you're just not going to critique the film. I'm going to critique every film I see, because entertainment is just not the same way it once was. I'm just going to be honest. But that's my review of it. Will I ever watch this movie again? Probably not. It's a one and done for me. I'm not sure how I would rate this. I would probably rate it maybe a 3.5 out of everything. I just, again, I wasn't impressed. There was musicals in here I didn't care about. Timon and Pumbaa were annoying. Normally I don't find them annoying, but they're very annoying. Like I said, a lot of the voice acting took me out as well, because I just didn't care about the actors in this film. The only thing I give credit for is they dedicated this film to James Earl Jones, which he made the character Mufasa his own, and he will always be Mufasa to me. He will always be Mufasa to me, no matter what. And I liked how they were able to show Mufasa in the clouds, like they did in the animated film. I just wish that we would be able to hear his voice. That was the only thing that I wish we had. But again, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Again, if you enjoyed it for the movie, that's fine. If you did not enjoy it, that's fine too. Again, this is my opinion. You guys can agree with me, disagree with me. That is up to you. But like I said, just let's keep it clean in the comments, and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Comment down below what you guys thought about the movie and the review, and I'll see you as always on the next one.